As I record this video, I'm 30 years old, and every single time I think about my past life decisions when I was 21, 18, or even 16, I was a hot mess. In today's video, we are going to be going over advice I wish I would have given my younger self. However, today's a special video because Sammy from A Sunny Side Up Life is also sharing her take on the same topic over on her channel. I will have her video linked in the description so that you guys can check out her video as well. Rohn once said that you are the average of the closest 5 people that you spend the most time with. And so I hung out with people that I probably shouldn't have been hanging out with, and I allowed these particular people to spend a lot more time in my life than they should have. I wouldn't say I dragged them, but I brought them with me toward my future. So when I turned 18 or 19, 20, a lot of these people that shouldn't have had been in my life were still in there, or were still a part of my life, and it amounted in me being the average of all 5 of them. So I can tell you now, looking back, the people that I stood around, it basically conformed me into a person that I shouldn't have been. Not saying that I was a bad person or the worst person in the world, but I didn't go toward my dreams. I did not push to succeed. I was interested in other things that they were interested in, whether that was partying or not doing anything really with my life. Everything that was just not important. Wasting money, getting into debt. It's something that I think about, and I'm glad that now at the age of 30, I'm able to say that the people that I surround myself in my life on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, the people that I choose to keep around me are a lot more advanced than I am. I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I choose not to be the smartest person in the room because I want to learn from other people. And I wish I would have known this when I was younger, and that's okay. Now I know I'm 30 years old. I still have, at least 70 years to go in my life, so that's okay. But number one advice has to be just realizing that certain people are not created to come with you and to go with you on your journey. A lot of people are in your life for a reason, for a season, or for a small amount of time. So just cherry picking the right people that need to be in your life is extremely important. And realizing that the people that you keep in your corner, if they're not up to any good, or if they're not trying to level up in their life, or if they're always having excuses, or always trying to spend money, or always being a toxic person toward you, disrespecting you, whatever the case is, these people are what you will eventually conform into. And I know it's hard when you're young because you just want to hang out with people that are cool, or people that you think are cool, even though they don't have really much anything going for themselves. They don't want to level up. They don't want to succeed. They're not motivating. They don't think openly or out of the box about things. They're just doing the same thing over and over again and not wanting to change, not wanting to go for their dreams or anything. And it's sad, but it's the truth. They take you with them, and obviously they're your friends or they're your loved ones or whatever the case is, and you want to stay with them. You don't want them to go anywhere, and you want to go with them on their journey just like you want them to go with you on your journey. And sometimes it's just not worth it. So advice number 1 is choosing the right people in your corner, making sure that you are always surrounding yourself with people who are motivating, who are loving, who are positive, who want you to succeed just like they want to succeed, who want nothing but the best for you. The next advice is that money is a tool. When I was younger and I had my first job and I got my first paycheck, I did not have the mentality that this money was going to give me a life that I loved. I thought of money as something that had to be spent on things that I wanted or I thought that I wanted. The things that I bought with my very first paycheck, I have no idea what I bought, to be honest, and I don't even know where it went at this point in my life. Money is a tool and it's a resource that will allow you to generate wealth for your family and for yourself and for your future plans and everything else in between. Money gives you experiences, money gives you choices, money gives you freedom, and ultimately money gives you time. Money isn't meant to be spent frivolously to keep you living paycheck to paycheck. It is literally the best tool that you can use to level up your finances and to create wealth for your family. I wish I would have thought about money this way when I was younger, because I would probably be a multimillionaire by now. But it is what it is, and you live and you learn. But I'm glad that at least now I'm able to recognize money as a tool and use it to my advantage and to my family's advantage to gain the most important aspect of life, which is time. Advice number 3 is you ultimately teach people how to treat you. When I was younger, I had different types of relationships. I dated a couple times. I had friends and friendships, but I never, ever realized that the people who were treating me wrong were treating me that way because I allowed them to. Now that I'm engaged and have kids and I'm able to recognize that I was the person who allowed these particular people in my life to treat me the way that they wanted, I can now share this advice with other people, with younger people, or with my nieces, my nephews, or even my kids, and obviously when they are able to understand. But I went through a lot of heartache. I went through a lot of negative emotions. I went through a lot of bad relationships, especially when it came to dating, because I didn't realize that I was allowing these people to treat me the way that they were treating me because I didn't say anything about it. I didn't put a stop to the behavior. I didn't leave when I should have left. I just kept the relationship going. And even though I'd probably say something like, oh, you hurt my feelings, or, you shouldn't have said what you said, or you shouldn't have done what you've done, I stayed in the relationship when I should have left a long time ago. So knowing that you are ultimately the person who chooses how people treat you and how they, respect you is really important. My first real relationship or serious relationship lasted way longer than it should have. The person continued to treat me in a certain way and would always say that they would change and that they would do things differently, but I just stayed there. And I guess I had hope, and I thought this person would change. And I thought that, if I taught them how to treat me after they treated me wrong, then they would magically change. You have to change the way that you react to them and the way that you have them in your life. In my first serious relationship, instead of continuing to have the same problems over and over again, I'm not talking about your normal relationship issues, like not communicating correctly, or maybe not talking to the person first, or trying to see how they feel, or hearing the person when they have problems. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. Those are regular relationship problems that you will have in every single relationship. I'm talking about the serious issues, the disrespect, the name calling, the mental abuse, the verbal abuse. That is what I'm talking about. If you stay in those types of relationships, these people know that you don't have any self-worth. And guess what? As much as they say they're going to change and they're never going to do it again, but they're going to continue to do it because you allow it. You stay in that relationship. So I wish I would have known this when I was younger. I thought me staying in this toxic relationship would change them, that they would eventually wake up one day and be like, oh my God, Jennifer is like the most beautiful girl in the world. I want to change for her. No. That's not how it works out, right? Learning that you ultimately choose and you ultimately teach people how to treat you is so important. Letting people know that something is not okay, and also letting someone know how you feel about the way they treated you or they talked to you is so important. And ultimately, removing yourself from a toxic, negative environment is so important. And it's important to do that early on in a relationship when you recognize those red flags, then staying in that relationship for years and then falling in love and then having the hardest time getting out of that relationship. Yeah, that was me. My next advice is to pay yourself first. When I was growing up and when I was younger, like I said earlier, my first paycheck, my first job, all the money that I was gaining and making in that time, I didn't save it, or I didn't want to save it. I wanted to spend it. And saving for a rainy day and paying myself first was not something that I was interested in. It was not something that I even thought of, to be quite honest with you. Using money as a tool, like I said earlier, and paying myself first would have definitely created more wealth for me in my financial journey. If I would have paid myself first back then, just like if I would have used money as a tool, then I'd probably be in a better situation, in a better financial situation than I currently am in now. Not that I'm in a bad one, but it could have been better. However you want to pay yourself first, whether that's through investing for retirement or just saving it in a separate bank account for savings, or however else that you can think of paying yourself first, is extremely important. Once you pay yourself first, then you can start to pay your bills and start to buy things that you want and do other things with your money. But paying yourself first is so important. It's important for emergencies. It's important for financial wellness and financial freedom. When I was 16, 17, 18, 21, 24 even, paying myself first definitely would have helped me in the long run, and it's definitely something that I wish I would have told myself when I was younger, or even followed when I was younger. That concludes all the advice that I give my younger self. Don't forget to check out Sammy's channel and her video on the same topic. It will be linked in the description down below. Until next time, guys, have a beautiful day. Bye.